Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. It's been a little bit since I've posted anything, but I got some shop updates for you and some stuff I've been doing. I've been busy trying to get some things done. I haven't had time to record much, but we are going to get back on this power wagon now. But we do have a new addition to the shop. This one was for my wife. It's a 1947 or 46 Jeep Willys. Yeah, when we got it, it didn't run so good. Had zero compression on one cylinder, 15 pounds on another, and the other two cylinders were fairly low too. It would run, but it didn't run good, so pulled the head off. The engine was junk. It had been full of water at one time. It had already been bored over, crank already been turned under. So went on the search, found a couple Hobart welders, and both of them had good engines in them. So I pulled one apart, rebuilt it, and we put it down in this Jeep. So it is running good now, and yeah, done a lot of work to this thing, and we still have a lot more to do to it. We're going to eventually replace the tub because the tub has been restored. That's a vague term, but we're going to end up putting the tub on it and repainting it to a different color. I still need to get a new set of tires, the actual tires that are supposed to be on it. We're going to do new leaf springs, new suspension in due time. But first we're going to get the power wagon back together, get it running and driving, and then we can move back onto this Jeep and get it finished up as well. I'll take you for, I got a couple little clips of video in that thing driving it down the road, so I'll try to throw them in here on this clip so you can see them. But we have ended up with another parts truck for the power wagon. It's just a chassis. Here it is. It looks like an old rusty iron and metal, but it did have both front and rear axles. I already sold the rear diff center section out of it. It came with, now they're beat up, came with both sides full length running boards, both original rear fenders. I've got to do some hammering and some dolly work, but they're there. The front leaf springs are good. We're going to pull these out and use them in my power wagon. I do want to get all these pins pulled out, and all the pins pulled out of the rear, along with the shackles, because all those parts that were on my truck are worn completely out, and they're kind of pricey. So if these pins are good, then we can save some money. That's my plan anyway. I gave $500 for this chassis, so just getting the front springs out of it, it pays for itself. I believe the king pins are in better shape on this axle. Not to be proven yet, but by the looks of it, everything's in a little better shape. This was an oil drilling rig back in its day. As you can tell by the rear leaf springs, they're stacked about, I don't know, 8 inches thick there. So we are not going to use it. They added leaves. You can see the factory. So that thinner edge one, that's a factory leaf. These are all added leaves. Here's a factory leaf, factory main. So you could potentially pull those apart and make good rear leaf springs out of them. We might have to do that just to see what we got. It did have the spare tire carrier on it. They'd torched it off, but this is cast steel, so we can weld to that and rebuild that spare tire carrier for it. Got another transfer case. We got a lot of the parking brake components that we was missing on the other power wagon. There was an engine in it. The engine's completely junk, but there was a transmission behind it. And it did have water in it. It's stuck, but you could get some parts out of it. The PTO on my power wagon was screwed up because somebody welded the shaft to the PTO shaft. But this truck had a good PTO in it, so we was able to pull that, salvage that. It's got a lot of good parts. There's a heat shield that I was missing for the driver's side. That heat shield was gone on mine. So now I've got both heat shields. Some of this stuff that I wasn't quite sure how it was made, like this rear fender support, I know how that's made, the front rear fender support, and also the rear fender support it's bent, but it's there. I can understand how it's made. If we have to, we can fab up new ones. They do sell a lot of these components, they repop them now, but everything's expensive. You'd have to be a millionaire to buy all these parts brand new. So I am going to tear this thing apart, salvage everything I can off of it. And once I'm done with my Power Wagon, if there's some parts left that I don't think I'll ever need, I'll sell them off to somebody else and let them work on their Power Wagon with them. Put as many of these back on the road as we can get back on the road. That's the plan. The frame's really no good. The inner frame's rotted out just like mine. The bottom flange is rotted out. And somebody cut off the back part of the frame. The gas tank's junk. I mean, these straps here are good. These are in good condition. I don't know about the bottom straps yet. So, a lot of good usable parts. We're going to tear this thing apart and salvage a bunch of stuff off of it. It's going to be a chore, that's for sure. Trying to get some of these pins and stuff out of leaf springs are really tricky. So I believe you've seen me tear some of them off my last frame. And so we're going to have a little bit of challenges there, but all in all, I don't think it'll be too bad to do. Thanksgiving was yesterday. Hope you guys all had a happy Thanksgiving. And I know I did. Spent some time with the family, and this morning me and the wife went Black Friday shopping. Got some neat tools there. We ended up getting some swivel sockets here, metric and standards, and that was the metric stuff, 3/8 and half drive. There's the standard 3/8 and half drive. We got a bunch of cool stuff. So I am working, I tore the carburetor apart, started cleaning it for the Power Wagon. So I've got the carburetor all tore apart, stripped down, and we'll be getting that put back together sometime. We have an engine to get put back together, and transmission to reseal, and transfer case. Main goal right now, get the frame back in here, get it painted, figure out what we got for mounting the leaf springs, get all the leaf springs cleaned up, painted like we want them, get those hanging back on the frame, and then we can move on to the rear axle, front axle, disc brake conversion, and all that stuff, and get it back on as a roller again. Speaking of that, this truck don't roll at all. We had to shove it in here with the tractor. But I'm going to start tearing stuff apart, and I'll bring you guys along for the ride. So please like, follow, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And for the next video, and also for the 1946 wheelies. And hopefully someday these will both be done, and we'll be able to take them to shows together and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for the next video, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.